All right, there we go. So here's a video that we haven't done a video for a long time, kind of updating everything. So here's one of my new beds. It's a pool bed. Sorry about that, you guys. I don't have editing or anything to get all this noise out, but we got two different kinds of cucumbers and our spicy peppers, a few different varieties, an eggplant, and a lemon thyme. So there was very, very few plants that I started from seed this time, just because it is a lot of work and a lot of trouble. So this is one of the things that I started from seed, basically because it was a scallop squash that was in the house and it started rotting and the seeds started sprouting out. So I just planted the whole squash. It was doing very well, but I think it just does not like this spot. I think it's getting too much sun and it's not liking it so much, but we have some new leaves that seem to be doing pretty healthy, and it also was probably stressed out because of there being so many different seedlings in there and not getting enough water. So I've been trying to pay more attention to it and give it some melon. So squash plants, that's one of my tips with squash plants, especially zucchini. So if you want them to do really well, feed them melons. They love it. So I just put a piece in there and split it with everything else. Even I would put a whole melon. So I have asparagus that I put in here as well. I'll talk more about this kind of method later. So I threw some strawberries. I planted one strawberry in here, and then I have some other little pots here, if you guys can see them, that were shooting. So I was throwing all the shoots in here. Now it's going crazy. Like, it's already planted outside, and if you can see all these shoots, it's all over the place. There's a lot of that crabgrass everywhere, so it's not super noticeable, but you can't see anything else in this bed because the strawberries are just going crazy. But unfortunately, every time any kind of strawberries come up, I'm not really having to worry about birds, but I'm sure you can hear the birds in the background. I have a lot of birds now, but it's mostly bugs that keep eating it, and I'm not going to go unorganic. So I have this tomato plant that is new, a Roma tomato. My last Roma tomato, it seemed like every single one was splitting and everything. And this one I bought probably at either Home Depot or Walmart. And this pineapple sage, I think that when I was doing the composting in place, I pulled one of the sticks off and put it in here, and it came back alive after dormancy. It's either that or the one it's in a 5-gallon pot, the pineapple sage, and you see how big it is. It's shot its roots out the pot already. I'm not sure if it shot something way over there or what happened, but it's in there, and pretty soon it's going to end up taking over this whole pot. But right now I have the tomato pot here. I think it's a 3-gallon pot, and then there's a hole in the bottom so it can access all of this goodness as well. So here, most of the tomatoes in this bed are all overwintered. You can see some dead stuff. Most of it I cut out, and you see how it's like got all kinds of crazy different twirls, and I have to hold them up any kind of way. You see over there, and this thing's all falling over, so I'm gonna have to try to give this some stability. But I did also plant some more tomatoes. Oh, it looks like this fell over. So we have a Swiss chard that's gone to seed. But these and one here are new plants. Those are the only new ones, and they're for tomatoes. So I really didn't plant as many last year. I planted a lot of tomatoes, and plus I took a lot of cuttings and started more tomatoes. But you see, I've already picked 2 red tomatoes. Right now we're in June. And I think that's pretty early, and it's mostly because I've overwintered so many of these tomato plants. If they didn't die, I did not take them out. And I did not re-soil any of my beds. yet because I just don't have the heart to pull something out if it's still alive. And the same with the celery. The celery was started from one of my videos last fall, I believe it was, from a celery sprout. So, not celery sprouts, from the cuttings of like celery you buy from the grocery store. So they've gone to the seed. I believe this one here, this is its second time going to seed. After it went to seed, that part that went to seed just dried up, and then it regrew more celery. So that is the bed that I was just watering. So here we have mostly different greens. And you see that we got little baby caterpillars have been messing with the greens. I haven't been eating a lot of the greens because I just started getting like a lower amount of the caterpillars and the white flies. So I just really don't like eating them if I have to wash a bunch of bugs off of them. But I think that the lowering of them is the contributor of the birds. I believe the birds have been eating those, but they've also been eating the other things, which I don't know how I feel about too much. So here I think this is an oregano. I know it's an herb and it's going to flower, but I didn't keep the stubs. So I believe these are probably another one of my walking stick cabbages. Then I have some watercress. These were in the little live foods, and I just planted those. Then we have some more of the walking stick, and I put this rosemary by it because, well, I just put it there for no reason, but it seems to have been repelling a lot of the bugs. Yes, baby? You want to do this? Okay, well, you have to wait a second. So here's another thing is new. These are all new tomato plants here, but I had a whole bunch of these trash cans, and I just put holes in the bottom. So I've kind of learned from previous about putting the holes in the like a big hole on the bottom of whatever container I'm using, because everything was dead when I moved in here, but there is a lot of weeds, and then most of them are the crabgrass, and they'll shoot right through and come all the way through, and then your whole pot is just tainted with it, and it will try to take over. And then all this is seedlings from the palm tree. So I have a lot of problems with that as well. So I'm just not doing that for now until I can get those under wraps. So I have my grape vines that I did not trellis up or anything yet. So it's kind of like I'm always behind when it comes to gardening stuff. And I have one that's actually making grapes, and this is the Concord grapes. The other two are growing pretty good, but they didn't make any grapes. So I have another new bed. This is mostly compost that I have not put dirt over, and I'll talk about that in another video because I don't want to make this too long. But I'm doing all my melons here just to see how it works, because last year I think I crowded my melons way too much. This might even be too crowded, but they seem to already be doing pretty good. I want to make sure that I get them nice and watered. And there's a cucumber in there as well. And I'm probably going to put, once I get around to it, a couple banana peppers over on this side that's empty. And these have big holes in them so they can shoot their roots through and get into the compost area and all that stuff. So here's another pickling cucumber. In the fall, I did a composting place, and look how far that went down. So again, like I said, I'll do some more videos at another time to get in detail with that. But these are regular collard greens, and they want to seed as well. Then I have this, I started this year too. I'm just doing the pots here on the side because they get morning sun over here. So we got potatoes, we got sage, tomato, and this is, when I showed you the tomato bed, this is one of the out of the same 6-pack, but it just got in the ground sooner, and it's getting a lot more sun and everything, so it's a lot bigger. And then we got a pepper plant in there. They're all sharing the same space. And then we have another volunteer potato plant. which, like I said, I'm not going to be digging it up, so I'm probably just going to cut that off so it's not sucking up nutrients. We'll get to that. Let me finish up real quick. So here's another one of our tree collards, our walking stick cabbage, and here's one of the things that the birds did. So I let this go to seed, and once I figured out about the hybridization, I cut the flowers off of anything in the same family so that these seeds would be pure at their best ability, because it's probably a hybrid as well. But you see the birds are eating all of these seeds. I cut a couple pods off. So I'm probably going to have some volunteers everywhere, but I wasn't really able to keep a lot of these seeds, even though I went to seed. But the good thing is throwing up more shoots, so if I want to plant those somewhere else, I can, or just leave them here. And this is also a method to compost this lemon tree. Yeah, so we got a lot of near-death situations going on over here, even though they're getting a lot of... Why did you move the hose right here? Okay, move it to the next thing. I was trying to get all the way over here to these potatoes. So all of this stuff is like getting thirsty. I cannot.
One had too much water.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do the same thing I'm gonna show you guys on the other side with this hose. So I'm gonna have to use a splitter and all that stuff. So originally I just tried to do a video and I wasn't even recording. So that's all the stuff I got growing right now. Don't have anything started in the house. Like I said last time, it was just a lot of work, and because I'm always seems like I'm always late on doing stuff, starting my own plants was not such a good idea. So here we go with what I'm doing here. I have a hose. There's the spigot that it does not have the rubber seal, so the hose is stuck. So even though this hose is like ripping, I cannot take it off. So I wasn't able to do drip irrigation, which I would have loved to do, but I wasn't able to. So I bought these soakers at the 99-cent store. First I had bought one at Walmart that was super long, but my beds are not super long. I have over here 4 beds just in this area that need to be watered, but doing the soaker and like giving each plant a day and tying up the hose usage is not working very efficiently, because then something is always thirsty and going without. So I got the splitter as well from the 99-cent store, and it looks like it has 2 different sides where you can cut off the water if you'd like. So my hope is to, for now, just use it for these 2 hoses that I have, but get some more splitters. And I've seen small hoses at the 99-cent store for like $1.99 that are super short, and basically just hook it up where all of these can be like just running another splitter on this side and then on this side, so that I'm watering all of them at the same time, and maybe even have an extra hose, use one of these extra hoses to be able to water the rest of the plants that are not able to use the soakers. But it's just so hard. Like I have 3 spigots, and I'm still not able to water all these plants coming out here every day without somebody being stressed out. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, so here I have my Boogie Brew water filter that I had hooked up somewhere else. I'm just going to hook it up here, and because there's little holes here, that's going to continue watering wherever it's at, which, yeah, we don't have much of a choice there about that. Okay, so now I'm going to hook this up. Wait, is that what, am I doing this right?
Mom!
What?
I found a slug.
Oh, fun.
You gotta kill it, please. I don't want to kill it.
It's what? It's probably in there hiding. Okay. Alright, so I have that part done. And now I have an opening, so when I turn the hose on, oh yeah, fun story for another time. Got a cool neighbor that's super loud. But anyways, I hope you guys can still hear me. I have this second hose that I'm putting over here so that we have both running at the same time. I still feel like this is going to get smashed. So these are onions. These onions, I didn't even know were still there when I harvested them last year. Alright, so I'm going to pause it for a minute while I actually just try to find the end here. See all these let me show you. This orange tree flowered a lot, but all the birds were like eating all the flowers. So I don't think I'm going to be getting any oranges. And this is a pear tree that got super stressed out from being hot and not getting enough water. So I'm having to figure out something for too many things, especially my trees, die on me. But those, even though those pots are not super big, they can be pretty heavy. So, let's see. This is kind of hard to do holding this. I'm going to pause for a second. Alright, so I got it all unkinked as much as possible. This is a super cheapy hose. And it folds up so easily. Oh, and we're going to try and see how this works, because I got it hooked up over here to this tomato bed. We're going to probably use water canisters to feed this tomato plant, because it is looking pretty thirsty. And because it's doing so well, I don't want it to do bad. But okay, so we're going to try to water this bed and this bed at the same time. Hopefully this works out. And if anyone's in a similar situation, or you just can't afford or don't want to go through installing irrigation. Okay, so seems like we're going to be doing a lot of sprinkling here. Let me try turning it down more, because this seems to be very sensitive. Okay, so I don't have a problem with that kind of spraying out, because that would just be watering the bed, and it's also spraying out a little bit on that hose. That's not good because it's kind of kinked up. So let's figure out how we can do this a little bit differently. These are some things I got at Home Depot in the little free thing. So that stuff's trying to take over. I was thinking that even putting this on top of a bucket to use that water and kind of like use it to water the other plants. That might be a lot of trouble, but let's see if it looks like this hose is actually working. Doesn't look like it is. It's definitely open. So let's see. There might be a kink somewhere. Because it's like the smallest kink that will keep it from going through. Looks like it's maybe a little bit, but not really. Okay, well, in theory, this would work well, but I think it's just because of the hose that I'm using that's keeping it from working well. Well, that's not going to work because it has holes in it. Alright, well, I don't want to make this video super long. I thought that this was going to work out, but I did get to show an update as well, so that was pretty cool. There's definitely water getting in there, but it just seems like it's not strong enough. Alright, before I finish, let's see if we can't just get this all the way figured out. And I know I have a bucket that doesn't have holes in it that we can use somewhere. Let's see. So that's what the other one that we just seen was, well, my trash buckets that the wind blew like crazy, and that's why these guys are knocked over, these celeries. So the reason I'm waiting to do this is because I don't want to just flood my yard and be wasting water. Okay. Let me pause for a sec.